beginning of 2014, which was the year that Rio hosted the FIFA World Cup, Soccer World Cup. And obviously that was kind of a special time for Rio because we had the World Cup in 2014, and then 2 years later we had the Olympics. So with all these mega events, it did seem to me like it was the right time to take a bit of a chance and ditch the day job and have a go at doing something else, really. So the freelance writing was happening in sort of parallel with the sort of creation of this food tour company. There was no one else doing it in Rio at the time. And I sort of thought, well, I'll give it a shot and see where it goes. And it really took off. And as Jackie said there, it took off, I mean, amazingly quickly. And I'm sure those mega events had a huge amount to do with that. There was a lot of media interest. So then suddenly, I was getting interviewed, asked to write articles and things like that. And during that period, I essentially learned how to run food tours through a lot of trial and error. I'd never done a food tour in my life. So I just made it up as I went along and sort of did what I thought I would like, if you see what I mean. So I just I guess you could say that part of the creative process was just kind of using empathy, really, and sort of thinking about how would I like a food tour to be run rather than how do I think it should be done,
And can I ask you, because when I was talking to you yesterday about this, you also talked about how, it all did go really well, but then it also didn't go really well. Could you talk about what happened there and how, you were sort of doing it all by yourself again and just what happened for you in that, creative hunt phase?
Yeah, I mean, what basically happened was that in a way, I sort of feel like the early success was maybe it wasn't all good in the long run, because I just assumed it was always going to be easy and great and everything would always go well and I'd cracked it, and I knew everything. And then after the Olympics, what happened was basically people stopped coming to Rio. We'd had the World Cup in 2014, and then we had the Olympics. And it was just like the movement of tourism around the world. No one wanted to come to Rio anymore, because if you'd wanted to come to Rio, you'd been in the last couple of years, so you certainly weren't going to want to come back. So basically we went from, like, me and I had two guides at the time. I was running between us about 25 tours in a month, went down to running about 4 tours in a month. So I couldn't pay my rent anymore, and my two guides left the country. And it was kind of it was a bit of a soul searching time of, is this really the right thing? Is it ever going to recover? And so on. And I think the one thing that really helped me through that was, even though I was only running 4 tours a month, the people who did the tour still absolutely loved it. And so I had to really remind myself that the product was still good, as it were, and people still loved it. It was actually just, how can we, as a small business, how can we try and deal with the fact there aren't many people in Rio right now? So one of the example ways we looked at that, what I looked at that was, try and sell more things to the few people who were coming. So instead of just relying on huge numbers of people coming and running, doing food tours with us, we then started, I started a night tour, so people could go out in the evening with me as well. And tried to sort of start to think, like, if we had tours in other cities as well, then, that would protect us from times when there's not very many clients, really.
So in a sense, that sort of difficult time also pushed you to be more creative in a way.
It's been brilliant.
With the product that you had. Yeah,
I mean, actually, I really think that when it was so easy, it just felt like it was never going to stop. There were always so many people coming to Rio that it was just, the problem was, how can we handle all these people? And then when actually that stopped, it was horrible. But it made me think much more carefully about what should I do as a business person. How should I expand? How should I try to protect myself in the future from problems like this? And, like I said, we innovated within Rio by starting up a wine tour for people who don't like just drinking Brazilian beer, starting up like I said, an evening thing, started up like a craft beer thing. So yeah, we diversified within Rio, and then also actually looked at moving to other cities as well. So we're now, I think it's a very small team of 3 now, but
the royal we.
Yeah, I prefer to think of myself as part of a team. It's even if it's just me. But yeah, no, we are moving to Sao Paulo very soon as well, and making plans to go to other cities as